Now, it's time to meet the players of college sports today and get this show started. He's a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback, a first-round NFL draft choice, and a member of the College Football Hall of Fame as both a player and coach. He is the head ball coach, Steve Spurrier. He's a rare two-time SEC Player of the Year and spent over a decade in the NFL. Ladies and gentlemen, Shane Matthews. And presenting the host of the show, with over 25 years of sports broadcasting experience, Terry Norvell. Coming to you from the College Sports Today studio, it's time for College Sports Today with Spurrier, Matthews, and Norvell.
And we've got the entire gang here on a Friday edition of College Sports Today. So very glad you're hanging out with us. We have a lot to cover. We will do it with the head ball coach, Steve Spurrier, Shane Matthews, and I'm Terry Norvell. A lot of baseball, a lot of softball we'll get into, gentlemen. Coach Spurrier, I want to start things off with you. You have known Coach K for a long time. You guys overlapped. And Shane, you may have some history with Coach K, and definitely some thoughts, but he announces his retirement, one more year. Tell people kind of how y'all met, when y'all met, and you had a couple stints together at Duke. Talk about it.
Yeah, Terry, the early 80s, 80 through 82, I was offensive coordinator at Duke under Coach Red Wilson, and Mike Krzyzewski got the head job, I think, in 80 or 81. And so we were able to play some half-court basketball, football coaches against the basketball coaches. They always won, of course, because he was the only head coach. And if the game was real tight, he'd call a foul on one of the football coaches all the time. But we'd play half-court basketball with those guys. And I remember asking him one time, if you were a football coach, what kind of defense would you run? And he said, the one thing I would try to do is always find a way to put pressure on the quarterback. Because if you let a guy stand there and throw the ball, usually they're going to hit somebody. But if you got somebody in his face and harassing the quarterback, then none of them are very good when you can do that. Yeah. So really, the last year there in '89, when we made that run to win the ACC, we blitzed like 8-9 guys sometimes, and that was what we had to do to be successful there. But other than that, yeah, he's been an outstanding coach, and I think he's got a grandson that's a walk-on player there now, and so forth. And But we've stayed in touch a little bit. My wife Jerry, I think, stays in touch with his wife Mickey a little bit, not a whole lot, but it's good to see him every now and then. Yeah.
Shane, how about let's go back in the go-back machine, 1980. Coach is getting there at Duke, coordinating the offense, quarterbacks. Coach K takes the job. He was at Army, takes the job. You've got in 1980 two absolute future coaching legends, Shane at Duke, Coach K and Coach Spurrier.
Little did they know.
Little did they know.
Well, the difference, Duke basketball is a final destination for a coach.
Duke
football is not the final.
But you mentioned his first couple of years at Duke were under 500.
Yeah.
It wasn't. It was a little rocky, and they were a little rocky. So they had to give him a little time.
They were on him a little bit, but Tom Butters, the AD, certainly believed in him and so forth. And Duke basketball and Duke football are two different sports almost. Yeah. But anyway, fortunately, I had a chance to come to Florida after Duke. In fact, I'm the first, I think, and only Duke football coach that's ever left for another job. All the rest of them either retired or got canned.
Or got let go. Now, when you became, I want to hear how he answers this, Shane. When you became a head coach, and I'm sure y'all continued playing some basketball, did you use your whistle as the head coach a lot? Foul, foul, foul. Were Steve Spurrier basketball teams at lunch hard to get to beat because of you refereed them tight?
Well, you know what? I don't even know if we played that much basketball after that. I'd go running. I was a runner back then. So noontime, we had a path and so forth, go get a good sweat and run and then come back, get ready. So I don't think we played as much for some reason. Now, obviously, sometimes whatever team the head coach is on usually has a little advantage. But a lot of times we start playing golf. We go play 9 holes at lunchtime or something like that.
Well, guys, let's stay kind of on this subject. But Shane, I'll bring you in here as well. Coach K, he's going to coach one more year, but he's announced his retirement. Living legend, we're losing a legend. Obviously, we've got one more year. You look around, and really in any sport, guys, I'll open up any sport, pro or college, any sport, how many more? We don't have a lot of those long time legend coaches still. Belichick in the NFL, Saban probably, Jim Boeheim, I guess.
He played at Syracuse and he's been coaching there forever.
Yeah,
forever.
How old does he coach? He's got to be
in his 80s, I would guess.
Yeah, right at 80. And hell, they had another good run. Remember, Syracuse had a good run. But in terms of coaching legends, and guys, I think part of becoming a legend, you got to coach a long time. Be successful, but coach a long time. Coach Spurrier, you got a long career. Coach K, I don't know if we're in the stay at one place a long time era anymore. Gino Auriemma at UConn, would he fall in that category? He's a legend, living legend.
He's won a lot.
Living legend, but what a neat situation. I know I've heard you talk about Coach K off and on a couple times or over the year that you and I've got to know each other real well. The North Carolina job just opened and has been filled, Hubert Davis, and the Duke job will open. So those two blue blood programs open up in basketball within a year. I mean, those are some big time jobs that have opened. Coach, I know you were playing a little golf. You had an event. I guess out on the left coast, out on the west coast. Talk about that. You played with some people everybody knows.
Yeah, Pebble Beach has what they call the Coaches Classic. Pebble Beach Coaches Classic started back in 1991, and we went in '92. A group of guys from actually Tampa, Avila Country Club, and I've been lucky to take 5 teams there to win it. Shane and I, the year he went, we were runner-up.
Shane. Did he cost it? He cost y'all the
No,
championship, didn't he?
He and Steve Jr. did not have their best day at Pebble, but we were runner-up. I think we lost by a couple of shots or so. But anyway, the team I take now, we're usually just there for the social event. But Pebble Beach, we played there 2 days ago, and it was nice weather, pretty nice. Windbreakers, of course.
Yeah.
The high of about 55 to 60 every day at Pebble Beach. But good to see a bunch of coaches. SEC coaches don't go because that's when the meetings are at the same time.
Yeah.
So when I coached here at Florida, I'd go to the meetings every other year. But when I got to South Carolina, Commissioner Slive said, Steve, we want you to come to the meetings. You need to come.
Yeah.
I said, okay, I'll come to the meetings. So I haven't been every year, but I have been a bunch of times, and it's a wonderful event.
Shane, you cost them a championship. What'd you do wrong, man?
As Coach said, me and Bub probably had a little too much fun the night before.
Yeah, they didn't play as well as they've been playing, but still.
It's a wonderful event.
Yeah.
Sounds like a good time. A lot to get to. Florida, actually, NCAA Baseball Regionals will start with the first pitch in Gainesville. That'll really kick off the baseball regionals. Florida will host South Florida. We'll talk about some regionals. Softball got going last night. They're in the World Series now last night. Tough loss for Florida State. Tough loss for Georgia, and it is a long way back. I know Florida State, the Seminole softball team 3 years ago won the national championship. They went out to Oklahoma City and won it. It's hard to do. They lost their first game 3 years ago. They had to win 6 straight. It's tough to lose that first game and run through it.
Well, in Oklahoma, it was probably one of the greatest assembled teams in the history of college softball, loses to James Madison, one of the biggest.
You've loved that James Madison team.
They're good every year, and I picked them to come out of that Tennessee region. Before the Super Regionals, they had to go to Missouri, but they have a local girl here that's the backup pitcher, Alyssa Humphrey from Gainesville High. That's a really good pitcher and good player. But it's good to see the underdog beat the big dog.
And I know, Coach Spurrier, you like to come in, and a lot of times on Monday at the end of the weekends, you come in and we try and set, obviously talk college sports, but you like to set what's going on with Florida, different sports. Whew. Hate to go back, but we all haven't visited since Georgia. Tip of the hat to the Georgia softball team. They rolled into Gainesville last weekend and just put a whooping. Now, Georgia lost a heartbreaker last night in the College Softball World Series, but boy, I didn't see the Florida softball team getting shut out back to back. Georgia put it on them. Put it on them.
Yeah, obviously their pitcher.
She was hot.
Was it the same pitcher both
Yeah,
games?
absolutely.
Yeah, they can pitch.
Yeah.
That is interesting that the women, they can pitch every game, but the men, they count their pitches, and you can't pitch back-to-back games.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It was tough. Coach, I had a guy here, David says, how tough is Pebble Beach? You were talking about playing it. Is where they set it up for the public, how tough is it?
Pebble's not near as tough as Spyglass and Spanish Bay.
And they're all right there.
Those two are
Yeah.
a little closer to the water, most of the holes. And it seemed like it's always windy and cold at Spanish Bay. So we actually played a lot better as a team at Pebble than we did the other places. But it was not all that windy 2 days ago, so it wasn't that bad. Number 7, the little par 3, I hit a pretty good shot on the green and left it an inch in front of the hole. But anyway, I made one birdie at Pebble and about 6 pars.
Gotcha.
It's hard to believe on that short little
And a
hole.
lot of bogeys,
One of those
yeah.
U.S. Opens, one day they hit like a pitching wedge on it, and the next day they hit like 3-iron because the wind was blowing so
Trying to
hard.
drive it in there.
Yeah, and it's only like 140-yard par 3.
Well, it's only about 100
down
from where we
downhill.
played it. So anyway.
A lot to cover here. Coach Spurrier will be here until the bottom of the hour. We'll take it to the top of the hour. That'll lead everybody right into first pitch. Florida is taking on South Florida in the first game of the Gainesville Regional. Second game in Gainesville will be South Alabama and Miami. Pretty tough regional, if you ask me. I think, Florida wasn't one of the top 8, so they did get a regional, but that's a tough regional, I think.
Well, a lot of people think the South Alabama team can cause some problems because they're supposedly a really good offensive baseball team.
And they've got, when I was at JU, we were in the Sun Belt Conference, and they were one of our conference foes. South Alabama's got a good college baseball history. They play well. But, Coach, Miami rolled in and took 2 out of 3 the first series of the year, opening up the ballpark. And, this isn't one of those great Miami teams, but that's a tough regional. You got to win that first game, too. It's tough to.
Yeah, it's helpful to win that first one.
Yeah.
But what's so neat about baseball and women's softball, everybody gets a chance. It's not like college football where only the 4 or 5 teams have a chance to win the national championship. Yeah. They all get an opportunity.
Yeah.
And like the James Madison team, give those guys a chance. They may really make some noise this year.
Well, guys, Shane, I think I heard you on your show talk about this, Coach. I'm not sure you're aware, but playing off what you just said, everybody gets an opportunity. Lord knows, look at my JU Dolphin baseball team.
Yeah.
The JU Dolphins, I played ball at JU in the 80s. JU baseball had a miserable year. Coach, they won 1 game in April. They were 3-15 in the Atlantic Sun this year. They were 12-27 or 28 for the year.
Really?
But they go to the conference tournament,
Tournament.
and they won the damn conference tournament. They're in the NCAA baseball tournament. They were 3-15 in conference. Liberty is the class of that conference in baseball.
Yeah.
They had they were 42-11. Liberty got in as well. But JU stole a bid. They won the automatic, and I'm telling you, JU is one of the main reasons Georgia didn't get in baseball, because they stole a bid. But, Coach, JU had a chance. They had about this much of a chance. They won the damn tournament. They're in the NCAA regional. That's what you said. Everybody's got a chance.
Yeah, opportunity. Yeah, they're making the most of it.
Yeah. How about that?
Yeah,
JU had 2 this year, Coach and Shane. JU baseball, it was so bad. They had 2 separate, this season, 2 separate 10 or more game losing streaks.
Dang.
Oh, that's bad.
In the season. They won 1 game in April. But you know what they did? They got hot. They got hot at the right time. Georgia, I remember, Shane, we were talking, Georgia baseball, I thought they needed 1 more win. They went out and went 1-2 out in Hoover. I thought they needed 1 more win. And what happened was teams like JU stole a bid. Liberty got an at-large bid. See, Liberty was going to get a bid. You want Liberty to win the tournament, and just 1 team out of that conference goes. Liberty didn't win the tournament, but they were good enough, so they ate up a at-large bid. JU ate up a spot. Here's Georgia. JU probably kept them out. I'll tell you another thing, Shane. We talked last week as well. Let's go back to the SEC baseball tournament. Go to that first game. Tennessee's playing Alabama. Tennessee hits the ground ball. The guy sliding in the second for Tennessee gets called for interference. I thought it was a bad call. They called him out. The batter runner was safe at first. That was going to end the game. Tennessee was going to win that game and beat Alabama. Bad call. Alabama ended up winning it. Alabama's one of the teams that kept Georgia out. If that call doesn't happen, Georgia gets in because Alabama has a loss. Quickly, back to softball last night. UCLA, did you guys see, Tom Brady's niece plays and is a good player. Tom Brady, the quarterback, his niece plays and is a good player for UCLA. Did you see the home run she hit last night?
She hit a bomb.
She absolutely crushed it, Coach. Absolutely crushed it. It was something. Fairfield in baseball, 37-3.
Wow.
Fairfield in baseball didn't win their conference tournament. They were like 35-1. It got beat. So there's some Cinderella stories out there. The SEC is set up in baseball to, man, they've got like what, 7 teams still alive, 7 or 8 still alive. It is something, guys. Getting to SEC football, it came down yesterday. Most of the conferences, I think, announced yesterday that transfers inside your conference do not have to sit out a year. That got passed. Coach, your thoughts? You've coached in the SEC.
Well, if all the other conferences are doing that, which I think they are, I'm not sure.
Yeah, it looks like
it should be a rule nationally. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Everybody can transfer. I mean, it's a free country now, so I think that was a good rule by the SEC.
And Shane, I saw yesterday. I saw the Big East made the first announcement, and a couple other ones, and then late in the evening, I saw the SEC said. So it looks like all your Power 5 are going that way.
Yeah, I mean, as Coach said, if everybody else is doing it, everybody needs to have the same, rules to follow. And, the more that, I was going to ask Coach this. I mean, how difficult is it, you think, for these coaches now with the recruiting and the transfer portal, transfers? I mean, it's, do you think college coaches, you get 25 scholarships. I was thinking about this the other day. Yeah, if you can get some 4 and 5 stars, we all want those. But are you going to save 4 or 5 of those scholarships each year just for transfer portal?
Yeah, or more. We were out at the Pebble Beach coaches thing, and there's a lot of coaches there that, never heard of these guys from San Jose and all over. But anyway, some of them now are not even recruiting high schools. Let's just recruit the portal guys all around the country. And you get a guy that's older, a couple of years older maybe, and bring him in and try to make a ball player out of him. But it's interesting that some schools, Alabama's still #1 in recruiting every year, and I think they sort of tell the guys if you're not starting in your 3rd year, then you can leave and start somewhere. But so they have guys that leave also. But anyway, it's what's fair for one's fair for all.
Shane, Coach Shane mentioned that a year ago. He said, "Man," and I'll let you speak for yourself, but you're like, I would put a lot of my recruiting effort to the portal.
Well, because then you can see, can this guy play at the collegiate level? You still don't know if a guy comes, especially if they come from like a 1A or 2A program, how is he going to translate and play big-time SEC football? But, I know Jake Spavital, who's the head coach at Texas State University, and this is year 2 for him. Yep. All 25 scholarships went to the portal. He didn't sign one high school kid.
Yep, made big news in the offseason. We talked about that a little bit. Yep, interesting, but you would almost think it's got to shift. Shane, you make a good point. You've got more tape on these guys, right? You can miss on a guy, Coach. You've recruited for years. You can miss on a guy at 17. Where does he project? Is he going to get bigger or stronger? Is he not going to get bigger or stronger? Is he as good as he's ever going to get? You get to see a guy that's 20, that's already played at a level, a little bit of tape on him. I'm with you, Shane. I think the days of all these high school recruiting services, they're all going to have to morph into changing it a little bit.
Yeah, because, back when I played, you didn't really want to sign JUCO kids because it's like, you don't want to build your program around junior college transfers. But now that's basically what you're doing with your football team, whether it's JUCOs or just transfer portal. The high school kids, they're going to be left out.
Well, it's a different landscape, Coach, between portal and transferring around and name, image, and likeness. It is a really, really different landscape. It's a different minefield to navigate for these coaches in all these big sports.
Yeah, it is different. It's different, but I guess what's fair for one's fair for all.
Yeah.
And you just adjust to the times. But it seems like a lot more headaches or a lot more work. But everybody, I think here in almost every SEC school, every assistant coach has got like an analyst guy that helps him recruit his area and his colleges, other schools, and all that.
So do you like the name, image, and likeness?
I don't particularly like it, but in a way, I do think it's halfway fair. I don't know if you can put a limit on it. I don't guess you can, but certainly there could be recruiting advantages for a lot of schools that way.
I like it, but I don't like it because I think it's going to cause problems in the locker room for college kids. Because, you know, if Terry and I both play wide receiver and I catch 10 balls against Alabama, he doesn't catch any. And the Oaks Mall wants to pay me $10,000 to come down on Sunday after the game to sign autographs because I caught 10 balls and he didn't.
Throw me some passes,
He's
Coach.
going to get pissed off.
Hey, quarterback, throw me some passes. You're killing me. Yeah, seriously, be serious.
Yeah.
Hey, look my way every once in a while. You know, I'm trying to make a buck too.
Yeah.
You know.
So it's going to be interesting to see how it all works.
The superstar. What's really sort of interesting, the girl that plays at UConn, basketball girl. What was her name?
There've been a bunch of them.
One this year?
Yeah.
Good
shooter.
Yes, I know who you're talking about.
She was just a freshman.
Oh, yes.
But anyway,
she tore it up.
They say she has 1 million people on her Twitter and all that kind of stuff. So she's got a chance to make a bundle of money.
If you should be able to play that, parlay that into some cash.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of eyeballs.
That's right.
That's a lot of advertising eyeballs, and that's what it's about.
That's exactly
you know, sports, I've told people for years, sports is not about the sport. You know what? Jaguars. I'm from Jacksonville. Jacksonville Jaguars, they're not necessarily they're not in the football business. They're in the eyes and ears business. Sports and entertainment, your charge is to deliver eyeballs and ears for advertising. If you break it down to its basic core, it's not about passing, and you use the passing and running and the touchdowns in the game to bring eyeballs and ears. That's what you sell, right? Mm-hmm. You're in that business. A couple things before we get out of here with Coach Spurrier. He's going to take off at the bottom of the hour. Nick Hall sent something to me earlier today. I never thought I would see it. He took a picture, and to me it's shocking. You know, all the college football magazines are now on the stands, the Lindy's and the Athlons. I love getting them, and I know they're dinosaurs now with the computer, but I still love the magazines, and I've spent my summer. Nick Hall sent me a picture of Lindy's. It just came out, and he had he got to the Atlantic Coast Conference section, and he took a picture, and it's Lindy's ACC projected first team, second team, third team, offense and defense. He took a picture. I looked at it a minute ago. Looked at it. There is not one FSU football player projected first, second, or third team, offense or defense in the Lindy. I would have never in a million years, not that that's the gospel, never thought I'd see that. Shane, is that amazing? Yeah. Florida State.
No, it is. It is, especially in that league. But, you know, they could still have some good players there.
It's shocking. Coach, do you like the magazines? Do you like over the years, do you like getting those magazines thumbed on?
I usually read one or two.
I like them.
The preseason, Lindy's and so forth, but I didn't pay really a lot of attention to it.
Yeah, boy, you know, they're a dying breed, the magazines, but boy, I love them. I love getting them and flipping through them. And not a controversial, but a lot of talk. Not a controversial, but a lot of talk this week in and around Georgia football, rivals of Georgia. The Bulldogs and Kirby Smart added 2 players to their football roster this week. Little controversial, but they're trying to get their team better. Shane, you may have talked about these guys on your show. The big tight end, Eric Gilbert, who was at LSU last year, played 8 games. Good player. Really? Good player. Really good player.
See the one that came here for a day or two?
Yes,
I don't know if he ever got here, but he was supposed to come here.
But he makes the announcement. Okay. He's left LSU 6-7 months ago. He publicly makes the announcement. He's en route to doing his paperwork and going to Florida. Mm-hmm. About a month, was it, Shane? Goes by. He says, I'm not going to Florida. I'm not sure where I'm going. He just popped up at Georgia. I don't know if it means anything, but this is a guy that now he's on his 3rd school in 7 months. Interesting. You just, you know, perfectly legal. You know, hope it works out for the 3rd school. Now, this week, the same day, Georgia gets another guy out of the portal. This starting cornerback from Clemson, Kendrick's his last name. Mm-hmm. And I'm just going to give you the backstory. You take it and run with it. These are 2 players Georgia added this week, and it's made a lot of fodder. The kid Kendrick, good player. Twice last year, he's suspended for 2 separate games at Clemson for off-field incidents. We don't know what they are, but twice he missed games last year. Per Clemson suspended him. Season ends, and he pretty much says he's leaving Clemson. The rumor is he has no grades, and I'm just saying what the rumors are. So he misses a couple games because of off-field incidents. Supposedly has no grades. This past February, I'm not laughing at the guy, but police find him at 3 a.m. in the morning behind the wheel of his girlfriend's car with a pistol in his lap and drugs on his body. That's the second player this week that is now part of the Georgia football program. Shane, I know you had a little bit of talk on that. They're eligible, but oof, oh boy.
Yeah, I mean,
oh boy.
It is what it is, and we'll see. I do know Georgia's got a lot of good players on their team. Whether they win a bunch of games, we'll see. People think that they're going to roll through the SEC.
Another thing, you never hear about a player missing a game for academics, hardly. For drugs or something like that, they'll miss 1 or 2. But gosh, I remember Ike Hilliard, class attendance. He missed the Georgia game. You never hear of a guy missing a game because of class attendance. Yeah, we had a policy here.
Yeah.
And we went up and down with Ike, and we ended up beating them 47-7 that day. So I guess we didn't need Ike against the Bulldogs back in '96. But you never hear about that anywhere now. A player missing a game or 2 because of academics.
But boy, that sure has stirred it up. Obviously, anti-Georgia fans are going, "Oh boy," and Georgia, hey man, they're perfectly legal in the portal. Quickly, Coach, before you go, this week, and I think it came out of the SEC. Shane, you may have saw this as well. There's legislation coming through the NCAA that's saying if you get popped on probation, there's talk now that they're going to hold that school's fair share of football money if you get popped on football. Were you reading any of that? I think it's kind of interesting. And if you get put on probation, if your basketball program gets put on probation, you're not going to get your cut of basketball money until you come off of probation. I kind of like that. A financial penalty if your programs get in trouble. I kind of like it. And I'm throwing this on you. You might not have had time to think about it, but if you get in trouble and get put on probation, you're not getting your SEC basketball money until that probation is over, or football money until you're. I kind of like it. I don't know. I know it's. You might be hearing about it for the first time.
First time I heard about it.
Yeah. I mean, trying to incentivize to do the right thing or don't do the wrong thing. Well, Coach, we'll let you get about your business. You're back on this side, and restaurants coming along. I think we're getting closer, and still staffing. Talk about what we need to know about the restaurant.
Is shaping up. I think the museum, Danny Warfel trophies. Shane's got some going in there, and I've got a few. Is there? So. Mid-July is still the official opening date, but we're having events there, dinners and this, that, and the other.
Private events and
groups
stuff
are coming in.
It looked like a lot of stuff got delivered last night. I saw some stuff on the Facebook. It looked like a lot of stuff got put in the museum area and all, and I haven't been in 10 days, so it's changing all the time. But it's ready to go. It really is. If you're a student about to start heading back to Gainesville and you've got some restaurant serving experience.
Free time. Yeah, we still need to hire employees. Yeah. Almost every restaurant has the same issue of finding people that want to work. So, just go to spuryourdraft.com and give them your name. And if you got a good reputation, good attitude, there's a good chance we can hire them.
Come on over. Yeah. Come on over. Spurrier's Gridiron and Grill. It is a beautiful, beautiful place. Coach, thanks for your time. We're going to let you get away. We'll take a quick break. And you had one. Did you have anything else?
That's it. The Gator baseball team's kicking off here in about 30 minutes.
Noon, first pitch, and the NCAA Regional Baseball will start basically in Gainesville. Shane's sticking around. We'll come back and take it to the top of the hour. It is College Sports Today.
The good vibes. What? All the good vibes we had, we'll have again. All the good vibes we had, we'll have again. All the good vibes we've had, we'll have again. All the good vibes we've had, we'll have again.
Taste the islands and every drop of Vida de Luis tequila. 100% blue agave from Tequila, Mexico. Good
All the
vibes.
good vibes we've had, we'll have again. All the good vibes we've had, we'll have again.
Let me take a moment to thank some of the wonderful sponsors that make college sports today with the head ball coach Steve Spurrier, Shane Matthews, and Terry Norvell possible. The official seafood restaurants of the show are Sliders Oyster Bar in Neptune Beach and their sister restaurants, Safe Harbor Seafood Restaurant of Mayport and the new Safe Harbor Seafood Restaurant location in Crescent Beach. The next time you crave the best seafood, the freshest seafood on the Northeast Florida coast, make sure you visit Safe Harbor Seafood Restaurant in Mayport, Sliders Oyster Bar in Neptune Beach, and Safe Harbor Seafood Restaurant in Crescent Beach, the official seafood restaurants of college sports today. All-American Roll-Off and Recycling, serving your construction job and demolition project needs among their many other services. All-American Roll-Off and Recycling is ready to work with you on your next project anywhere throughout the Northeast Florida and surrounding areas. Visit their website, all-americanrolloff.com, or call them at 904-503-1410. Campus USA Credit Union. Find out what over 100,000 members already know. Visit a Campus USA Credit Union today and find out how they can work for you financially. If you would like to advertise your business right here on College Sports Today with Coach Spurrier, Shane Matthews, and me, Terry Norvell, then simply drop me an email at tnsportsjacks@yahoo.com and I'll be sure to make that happen. Thanks again to our great show sponsors. Now let's get back to more College Sports Today. College baseball taking center stage here in about 30 minutes. The NCAA Baseball Regionals will kick off. 16 sites, and they will play down. You got to win two games to get you out of the regional, and you'll have 16 winners. They'll go to 8 super regionals as we welcome back Shane Matthews, Terry Norvell, talking a lot of ball. Softball is in their World Series winners bracket today, and then how about Georgia? They face Oklahoma in an elimination game tomorrow.
They've already beaten Oklahoma
Yes,
once
they
this year.
have. Oklahoma's lost, 3 games Oklahoma has lost in softball, and all 3 teams are out there in Oklahoma City, right, that have beaten them. But, boy, you talk about you got to win that first game. And I know FSU lost the first game 3 years ago and ran through the softball then. Shane, good luck winning 6 straight.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Very tough.
Winning 6 straight. But Georgia, they played their guts out last night, and then they get to take a day off and face Oklahoma in Oklahoma's home state with loser leave town. That's tough.
I mean, Georgia had second and third with 1 out
Yeah.
to tie the ball game and couldn't get it done.
Yeah, Georgia had a weird year. We were talking, I don't know if we were on air or off air. Georgia softball, they were 4 or 5 games over 500 for the regular season. Shane, as you pointed out, they lost their last 7 games, including their first game in the SEC softball tournament. So they limped into their host regional in Athens on a 7-game losing streak. They reminded me that they got hot. Boy, did they swing the bats. They got through Duke in their regional, and then they swung the bats like crazy last weekend in Gainesville. They reminded me of Mike Martin's baseball team 2 years ago. They barely made it in his final year. Everybody wanted them. They got hot. But then they made it out to the World Series. And you never know when the bats come. You never know when they go. You never know when they go. So softball is in their World Series. Baseball is just getting going. The SEC goes in their national seeds 1, 3, and 4. And Vanderbilt is 4, right? Many people said they're the best team in the country. If you go by that, they're the 3rd best team in the SEC.
Yeah.
That is something. I do think Florida's got a tough regional.
Do you?
Yeah. South Florida, their record's not good. They got hot. They're a hot baseball team. They had to win their conference tournament to get in. Miami and South Alabama, they're threats. I think they're both I think they're both threats. Did you see where Texas had a comeback season? Texas, number 2 seed.
I mean, I knew they were number
Yeah.
2, but I had no idea how they were last year.
Yeah, I mean, Texas, their 60th appearance. That leads all baseball teams, Texas. Tennessee hosting for the first time since 2005. They went to the College World Series in 2005. They're one of the good stories in college baseball. I mean, that guy, Vitello is his name, has done a real good job. And those Vol fans, maybe they're pent up, frustrated from football. They have fallen in love with that baseball team.
Yeah,
at
they
Tennessee.
actually have a kid from Bowles on their team,
Yeah,
second base.
I saw that. Vanderbilt making their 15th straight appearance in the regionals. In baseball, though, the word was when the selection show came out, what was that, Monday, on the holiday, Monday? Last 4 in were Alabama, Michigan, North Carolina, and Cal Santa Barbara. First 4 out, Baylor, Pitt, Georgia, as we talked about, and Ball State. Baylor is on deck. They're the COVID team. But I guess they're sitting at the airport, but
Yeah.
I don't think anybody's gonna fall out. And Fairfield, 37-3. They were 35-1 at one point, so they lost 2 games in their tournament. They come in at 37-3.
And they're in the Texas region, right?
I think so.
Maybe they'll upset the
Yeah.
Longhorns.
Whew. So I'm glad you went there, Shane. In case people aren't aware, the Gainesville Regional is paired up with the Austin Regional, right? So Texas is a national seed, one of the 1 through 8s. They're number 2. Florida is not. If Texas wins their regional, they host the Super Regional, whoever comes out of Gainesville. So if Florida wins and Texas wins, Florida has to travel. Now, Shane, and this has happened before, it doesn't happen all the time, a regional host that's a top 8 seed can get beat. So a team like Florida is not 100% not going to host a Super, right? Because they have to scramble then, right? If Texas doesn't win, somebody's got to host.
Correct.
If Florida was to win and Texas gets knocked out, Florida would host the Super, right?
As far as I know.
And it's happened before. It doesn't happen all the time. Generally, your top 8 are going to move. SEC probability to advance to a Super. If I was giving the SEC teams probability of advancing, 10 for sure, 1 they're not. Number 1, I would have Arkansas at 9. I think Arkansas is really good, and they don't have and they shouldn't. They're the number 1 seed. Their regional's not real tough.
They're going to Omaha.
Yeah, I would have them at 9. I would have Tennessee at an 8. They've got Duke, Liberty, could be a decent out. I would have Vanderbilt, even though they're behind Tennessee, I'd have Vanderbilt at 9. They're hosting, and I think they've got a pretty easy regional. Presbyterian, Georgia Tech, Indiana State. Mississippi State scuffled around at the end. I think they have an 8 probability to move on. I still like that team. They got a lot of veterans. Ole Miss is hosting. I've got them at a 7 moving on. I've got Florida at a 7 moving on. South Carolina a 6, Alabama 3, LSU. LSU got in probably because of the retirement, wouldn't you say, of Paul Maneri?
Mm-hmm.
Boy, did you see where they got sent? Oregon.
Oh, wow.
But they got in. They got in. Speaking of the Fighting Dolphins, they're playing Old Dominion. They're in Columbia. You know, I might have played on a JU baseball team that faced Old Dominion in postseason play.
The Monarchs?
I might have helped send them home with Shane, I might have had a 5-for-5 day and sent them home.
Is that right?
Maybe. I'm not going to brag because I don't do that. I'm impressed you knew they were the
Oh, you can't get me on
the Monarchs.
nicknames.
The Monarchs. You know them all?
Pretty much.
Pretty much. Did you bring up Texas San Antonio today?
You talking about the Roadrunners?
They didn't think you'd know that one.
Yeah.
Are you a college football magazine guy?
No.
No? When you were a player, did you pick them up?
People would give them to me.
Yeah. You don't like to thumb through the books?
No, because I want to sit there. So-and-so has 17 starters back. Well, they sucked last year, and just because they have 17 starters back doesn't mean they're going to be any better this year.
Okay. I love the books. They're going away.
Does Lindy's and Athlon still do the cheerleading section?
I don't know.
You know, the band, the majorettes, and all that?
I don't know. Maybe somebody can tell us on the comment section. I don't know.
What do they call it? The girls in the South or something?
I
like
don't
that?
know. Dear Lindy's Forum. I don't know, Shane. I'm stunned. I thought you'd be an Athlon's Lindy guy. No?
I'm not, I don't
Yeah.
do any research or
Yeah.
read or anything.
But I mean, summertime, I'll
Can't
go
read.
to the beach, take a magazine.
I don't
you
go
know,
to the beach.
No?
It's so damn boring.
Sit in your backyard, get a little sun,
No.
enjoy the fresh air.
The only time I'm in the sunshine is if I'm playing golf.
Good Lord, Shane, what do you do?
I play golf. I'm too competitive, man. I need something to
Good.
focus on. I can't just sit there.
Good
There's
Lord.
nothing worse than just sitting in the sun.
Spinning off, we're in the softball and obviously baseball tournaments now. World Series for softball and regionals for baseball. You know, Shane, I would guess out of everybody in your life that you know, I probably defend the NCAA more than anybody you've ever known, probably. At times, I stand up for the NCAA. I think they've got a tough job. Would you agree with that? You probably heard of me. Everybody, it's easy to bash the NCAA. Here's something, and this is one of a million things they do well, and I don't know if people realize. Do you realize that, and this goes to the NCAA and all the money, they got so much money, and they got to share the money, and they're just hoarding the money. Just hang tight with all the money. A lot comes in, but a lot goes out. Do you realize, outside of football, okay, move football away. Do you realize the NCAA sponsors 90 championships? Okay, 90, okay? All the championships. When they hit the NCAA level, not the SEC conference tournament level, ACC conference tournament, when the NCAA Baseball Regionals right now, 64 teams scattered about, so 16 of them are at home.
Mm-hmm.
So what is that, 48 traveling? Do you realize the NCAA pays all travel? Softball, they pay all travel. I looked it up. The word is the NCAA spends $60 million a year on travel for their championships. And think about it. We'll use my little school, JU. The reason the NCAA does that, and it's very smart and very fair, you don't want to be punished for having a good year. JU got into the NCAA baseball tournament. JU doesn't have an extra $40,000 sitting around in case they get in to send their team, right? So the NCAA pays all did you know that? The NCAA pays all travel.
I never even thought about it.
Because Fairfield, why should Fairfield get punished for making it financially?
And that's
Very smart.
That'd be a long bus ride.
Yeah.
Aren't they in Connecticut?
I think so. I think so. But, you know, a lot of people don't think that. Or would never even think that through. You say, oh, it's so much money. They've got so much money. They spend a lot of money. Think about that. You're traveling, you're hoteling, you're feeding all these teams.
Mm-hmm.
What they have to. What a miserable situation if your basketball team, Florida A&M, they play Division I basketball. They've won the MEAC. They get sent to play their first round March Madness game in Spokane. That would break the bank. You would be punished. So they pay.
Yeah.
They pay.
Good for the NCAA.
I'm one of the guys that I don't know, I defend. So Gainesville, Austin, they're paired up. Starkville, South Bend, Columbia, Fort Worth, Knoxville, Eugene, Nashville, Greenville, Oxford, Tucson, Lubbock, Stanford, and Fayetteville, Ruston. That's who's paired up. So if they win and everything holds, that's the matchups there. Shane, we got a few more minutes before we get out of here. This happens to me a lot because of living in and around Jacksonville, and I know we're all tired of Tebow. It happened again yesterday, and I'm rooting for Tim Tebow. You're rooting for Tim Tebow. I had a guy that a lot of people do. Terry, what do you think? Is Tebow going to make the team? Blah, blah, blah. What would you do? I said, I think it's a guy yesterday. Get into a discussion. Here's what I hear, and I don't understand where the fan thinks. Well, let me tell you something, Terry. They can use him for nothing more than he's going to go in there and help that locker room and clean that locker room. Shane, my comeback to him, and I want you to answer this too. I said, well, how?
Yeah.
How's he going to? How and what is he going to do? Well, he's going to go in there and talk to these guys. Why would anybody in the Jaguar locker room that's already a veteran NFL player? Why would they listen? And what's he going to say?
Well,
am I right in this?
Yeah, you're 100% correct. Because here's the thing. First of all, nobody really talks like people think they're going to talk in a locker room. The locker room is guys just hanging out, get dressed, go home. You know,
Yes.
And you know, I go back to my days. I think it was 2001.
You spent over 10 years in NFL locker
Yeah,
rooms.
I was in there for 14 years, but I was in a locker room where you had 21-year-olds and you had
Yes.
the Bruce Smiths and the Darryl Greens who've been playing
38
forever.
years old.
Nobody, there's all walks of life. It's not where you have it's 17 to 22-year-olds all together. And
how many? Let me cut you off real quick. I was telling this guy yesterday. I said, he goes, well, he'll impart wisdom. I said, well, every NFL team may have 2 or 3. Not that many rookies are even on a team.
right.
I mean, the rest of the team, Shane. I didn't mean to cut you off. Aren't they made up? If you're a 25-year-old, 3 to 4 year NFL veteran in the NFL. What's Tim Tebow going to tell you? He hadn't been in the NFL in 10 years. You know more than he does.
Well,
what's he going to tell? I ask these guys. I'll go, what is he going to? Well, and then I said, well, what is he going to do? Hey guys, circle up. I want to talk to you guys.
Yeah, it doesn't work that way.
But the fan thinks, bring him in for the locker room. Bring him in for Trevor Lawrence. And I'm going, when do you? I asked this guy yesterday. He was asking me about this. I go, he said, well, what about Trevor Lawrence? How's he going to teach him? And he doesn't play quarterback, number one. When are they together? They're not in the same room together.
Correct. They're not in the same room. And plus,
what's he going to tell him?
the offense they're going to be running is not what Tebow ran in college. They're going to be running Darrell Bevel and Brian Schottenheimer's offense.
Shane, these guys are, and they're looking at me like, well, I'm like, why would anybody that's a veteran in the NFL listen to Tim Tebow? What's he going to say?
Right. I mean, look, like you said, we're all rooting for Tim.
Absolutely,
I mean, Tim does so many wonderful things off the field and everything, but it's like I had Ben Troop on my show.
Yeah.
And Ben is as blunt as you can be, man. You know,
Yeah.
because you know, you've heard the comments come from Trevor Lawrence. It's great having Tim out here. He
Yeah.
works hard. Well, he's not going to say anything bad,
Of course, he's
right?
not.
He's not. And Tim is a hard worker, but I would love for someone to interview just the tight end room
Yeah.
about what the other guys are feeling and thinking.
Yeah.
Where, you know, it's all confidential because, like, I mean, go watch my show. Ben Troop just basically laid it out
Yeah.
there. He's like,
Yeah.
look, man, he doesn't think he can make it. And he might, you know, again.
He might. I hope he does. I hope he does. But you make a great point, too. Obviously, I live and spend a lot of my time in and around Jacksonville. Every day now, they're on mini camps now. They're on the field. Every day, Tebow caught 3 passes.
Right.
Well,
And
no, the other tight end, there's no report. I'm sure they caught,
Right.
but Tebow caught 3 passes.
And it's like, and I don't know if this is true or not. You would know this, and I don't know if Ben was being funny, but he said they have like a Tebow cam on him when he walks out of the locker room,
Probably.
and then at practice.
Probably.
Nobody else in the NFL has that.
And, you know, I had some guys, God dang, Shane, you played over 10 years in the NFL. I've spent years covering that team off and on and in the locker room. And they'll say, well, look how he works out. He's in great shape. He's big and strong. Everybody in those locker rooms are monsters.
Yeah, it's crazy because
They're all monsters.
There's none of these rah-rah speeches in the National Football League. You know, people want to go back and look at the halftime of the Oklahoma National Championship game speech, which is great. But that doesn't happen in the NFL. You know, and everybody says, well, Tom Brady made the Bucks. Well, yeah, Tom Brady did make the Bucks, but Tom Brady just walks in the locker room.
Yeah.
He's not, it's just his presence and his experience. So, you know, I get it, but
These guys are telling me, Terry, if for anything else, just shaping up the locker room and help. I'm like, the guy hasn't been in the NFL. He knows he needs to go. Tim Tebow can learn from a second-year veteran Jaguar more than the second-year veteran is going to learn from Tim Tebow. Tim Tebow knows nothing about modern NFL.
He needs to be learning from who's probably, you say, the starting tight end,
O'Shaughnessy or somebody.
Yeah, he's been in the league a long time.
Yeah. But it's hilarious. Today, if they're practicing right now, Tim Tebow caught 4 passes, 2 in the red zone, 2. The other 4, there's probably 5 tight ends.
Here's the other thing about that is, you know, they script plays in the NFL practices. So, and here's the other thing: you walk through every play that you're going to run in practice in the walkthrough, and you know what the defense is going to be. So they're scripting for success, is my point.
Nice.
So whether it's Tim or Trevor Lawrence or whoever it is, on every play they've already walked through that scenario with the defense, what the defense is going to give them. So when it's live, they already have an idea of what's going to happen.
Interesting. We also hear in Jacksonville, because obviously it's a big topic. They're going to use him as a specialist, an offensive weapon.
No way.
What's his specialty?
Yeah,
Help me, Shane. What's his specialty? My guess is watching him in the outfield for a couple, 3 years. Looking at him now, he has gotten thicker. You can tell by the naked eye he's gotten thicker the last 6 months or so. But seeing him, what he did in baseball and lumbered around, my best guess is right now Tim Tebow's absolute best 40-yard dash would be 4.85 maybe?
Yeah. They want to compare him to Taysom Hill, but
not even close.
He's like a 4.4, legit 4.4.
Absolutely.
He's got a tremendous arm, not really a quarterback, but there's maybe people are thinking that's what they're going to use him. I don't think so.
I finally left it with this guy. We had a nice discussion. The guy's a big Gator fan too, so we talked yesterday, and I finally said, and after I said this, he kind of did this, okay, Terry, I said, okay, and he rattled off Tim's a winner, and Tim's a dedicated athlete.
Nobody's questioning that.
Tim's a dedicated athlete. Tim's big and strong, and Tim's nobody's going to outwork him, and he's going to bring stuff to the locker room and this and that. I'm like, I don't really know what you mean, but I finally said, okay, if all of that was true, and he did all that under a Florida State helmet, you wouldn't have this we wouldn't be having this discussion. And he went.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
And I respect that. You love your team, and you love your former players from your favorite team. But I said,
here's what you should have told
him. If he did all that with a spear on his helmet.
Yeah, but by doing all that, were there other 30-something teams in the NFL calling?
It's amazing you said that. I used that on him too. I said so.
And there's nothing wrong with his relationship with Urban. That's part of it. I mean, when Coach Spurrier was with the Redskins, a lot of us went there because of our relationship. But everybody that went there had already been in the league and was playing a position that they had played their entire life.
I actually used that on him a little bit. I said, so you're telling me the other 31 teams just – and I also use this. He said, well, Urban is going to know how to use him and get the most out of him because Bill Belichick couldn't figure it out. That Bill Belichick couldn't figure out a way to, Could this, and we'll get out here in a second, I know everybody's ready to get to some baseball. Could this, if the Tebow thing doesn't work out, could this be a big step back for Urban Meyer? Could this start his tenure off on a step back?
You mean if they have to release him?
Yeah, or if they keep him and he doesn't play well. The players aren't going to say stuff to the media, but could this be a kind of a what the hell is he even on the team for kind of thing?
I mean, it could.
And he's a rookie coach.
But I'll be surprised. I still will be surprised if he makes it. I really do. And like I said, I have nothing against it. I'm just going by my experience.
I hope he makes it. August 31st is the cut down to 53. The real Turk comes out the 31st of August. There's 2 other dates you got to go down, as you know. It's the 17th, 24th, and 31st of August. You got to get down to from 90 to whatever to. Would I be stunned if the first couple of regular season games Tebow's on the roster? No, I wouldn't. I don't think he will, but I would. My thought is if he is on the roster, I think it will be more of a circus act. And I think that's risky with 45 players. If he's on the team, he's got to cover punts and kickoffs, doesn't he? He can't just be
fast enough.
But can you be a backup tight end doing nothing else? A third string tight end, second string tight end, and rarely get on the field but take up one of those 45?
Yeah, I mean, most teams only dress
two,
maybe 3 tight ends at the most. So we'll see.
By the way, as we get out of here, going way back off the topic we talked earlier, the word is Georgia has talked to Eric Gilbert, who's coming in, the tight end, going to play wideout. You've seen him play a little bit. Can he get it done?
Yeah, he's fast enough.
Would he lose some weight, or is he okay?
I don't know what he weighs right now, but I think he's going to play that.
Yeah.
I read somewhere where he's going to play that X position, which I think he can.
Be interesting. It'll be interesting. Georgia, tip of the hat. You're always trying to get your football team better, but boy, those are 2 unique players. Like I said, the Clemson guy had a lot of stuff, including the gun, and he'd been basically kicked off the team twice for stuff, and then Eric Gilbert. I'm not labeling him, but Shane, literally, if you count back 7 months, LSU, Florida, Georgia, this is his third team, and word is he talked hard with Tennessee. But I mean, that's not labeling a guy.
That's what's getting ready to happen with a lot of players.
It really is. College sports as we know it. I don't know. Thank you to all the sponsors you see above our shoulder there. You saw the commercial a moment ago for our official tequila sponsor, Vida de Luis. 3 great flavors, Blanco, Añejo, and of course Reposado. You can find it all over the state of Florida. If it's not in your favorite hangout, you make sure that place gets in touch with VitaDeLuis.com and they'll get it taken care of. Thank you to all of our great seafood restaurants under one roof. We want to thank Chris and Deanna Wooten, who own and operate Sliders Oyster Bar down in Neptune Beach, and of course the 2 Safe Harbor seafood locations, Campus USA, who has really been involved with us for a long time, and we also want to thank All American Roll Off and Recycling for your next North Florida, South Georgia construction project cleanup needs. You need to contact and find out how they can help you at All American Roll Off and Recycling. There we have it. We'll part with David saying Tebow is Taysom Hill 2.0, just saying they couldn't be any different athletes, right?
Yeah, totally different.
Taysom Hill, I think, could run 240s before Tebow finished, right? And body type, they couldn't be any different, right? I mean,
they're both jacked up, I will say that.
And we may be, hey, I've had to admit I'm wrong before.
Yeah,
I'm an opinion guy. I'm right sometime, I'm wrong sometime, but I give you my honest opinion.
Yep, I agree.
We will see. Gator Baseball, if they get out of the regionals, if they can get out of here and presumably get to Austin for a super regional, the way this season has played out, I know they were unanimous number 1. I think if they can get to a super regional, you would almost call it a success.
Yeah.
In a roundabout way, a lot of stuff happened.
It would shock me if they won.
Yeah, wouldn't it all? So a lot of good baseball all weekend, a lot of good softball all weekend. Hope you catch it. We will come back Monday and have a big review, what happened and where we were going or are going in college sports Monday at 11 a.m. Thank you so very much for everybody that has participated. We want to thank Coach Spurrier, who got out of here at the bottom of the hour. And, of course, as always, our producer, Evan Miller. For that guy, Shane Matthews, I'm Terry Norvell. We'll do it again Monday, 11 a.m., College Sports Today.